everyone, welcome to today's tutorial, and in this video I will be showing you how you can recreate this chemical flask in Adobe Illustrator. So now it's really simple to do and let's see how that's done. So for this video I have already opened up a new document which is 1000 by 1000 pixels, and I have also renamed my document to be chemical bottle. So we'll be making this chemical flask in this video. Okay, so I'll be using this as a reference and we'll be creating something very similar to this right now. Alright, so let's begin. So before I start, I would like to make sure that I have my smart guides activated, because the smart guides will be actually helping us to recreate that chemical flask. So to do that, I'll be going to this views panel right here and making sure that the smart guides option has been activated. So the first thing I want to do is that I'll be creating this bottle shape with the cork and like this, just the basic shape for now. Alright. So I do not require the fill as of now, but I do require the stroke to be there. So what I'm going to do is that I'll be changing the stroke color to dark green for now, and I'll be changing the stroke weight, meaning the outline, the thickness of the outline, right? So by default you can see that it's 1, but I'll change it to 3 as of now so that it becomes a little thick. So in the fill option also I've clicked on this none option, which means that when I make my shape there will be no fill and there will be just the outline. So I'll be using this rectangle tool right here and I'll be just creating this rectangle like this, and I'll be using the direct selection tool to just select these two anchor points, these two top anchor points, by holding on to shift, and I'll be using these smaller circles to bring it inwards like this to create a rounded edge like this. Now I'll go ahead and select these two bottom anchor points as well, and I'll round these edges as well, but not so much. So I just require a really small amount of this rounded effect like this. Okay, so now we've got like the basic shape of our bottle, and now I'll be creating this top portion right here. So to do that, I'll be going back to the rectangle tool as well, and the stroke color and the thickness remains the same. So I'll be just dragging my mouse like this to create a rectangle on top. I'll zoom in on this portion by clicking on Ctrl and the plus option like this. I'll select these two and I'll make sure that it's centrally aligned. Okay, so now you've selected these two and we'll go to this align panel right here and we'll click on this horizontal align center from this align objects. And you can see it now becomes horizontally aligned. And what I'm going to do is that I'll select this and I'll use the direct selection tool to just bring this a little thinner like that. And now I'll create these two as well. I'll just select this one as this rectangle, click on Alt to make a copy and just drag my rectangle on top like that. Click on Shift plus Alt and just increase the size like that and just nudge it like this. So let's select these two rectangles and align them as well. And I'll just make sure that even the rectangle we've just made, that the stroke weight also remains 3 like this. Let's see. Okay. So this rectangle is a little bit more bigger and a little thicker, like that. So I'll select this, making sure that the stroke weight remains to be 3. And I'll come to the rectangle tool again and I'll make the cork. And the cork actually, it's like this. Okay. I'll just make one square going over here like that. And select these two, centrally align like that. So now what I'm going to do is that I'll select the direct selection tool, select this anchor point, and I'll bring it inwards a little to make this line a little narrow from the top over here. So I'll click on this shift and the arrow keys and I'll bring it inwards like this. And do the same thing on the other side as well. Now we can go ahead, select these two anchor points and round the edges off a little like this. Similarly on the bottom two anchor points as well, like that. So once that's done, I can now go ahead and also make some changes in this rectangle as well. So as you can see over here that there is this semicircular type of thing on this rectangle over here, right? So to create such an effect, I'll be going over here to this pen tool and selecting the add anchor point tool. I'll zoom in and I'll just add these anchor points like this. And similarly there is one on top over here as well. So I'll add small like these anchor points here as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'll select this anchor point and with the help of the shift and the down arrow keys I'll just bring it downwards like this so that it creates this type of a triangle. And I'll round the edge as well. Now similarly over here as well, I'll select this anchor point, click on shift and the down arrow key to create this triangle and go ahead and also round the edge off like that. So now I'll be just rounding the edge of these 4 anchor points as well, to give it like a more proportionate, to make it look more better like that. Alright, so we've got like the basic shape of the entire bottle with the cork as well. Okay, so I'll be adding the colors a lot later, but the main thing is that we get the entire shape ready first. And now for the contents over here, this liquid right here. Okay, so I'll be using the pen tool. And this time I'll add the fill as well to be light green. And we can just go ahead and make this kind of a shape like this, and I'll go ahead and join this as well. I'll select this, right click on this, go to arrange and send to back like that. And similarly I'll first edit this now. So now we've got this. I'll select all the shapes that we've made like this. Come over here to this shape builder tool. So as you can see that the shape builder tool now can differentiate all these parts into 3 different portions, right? So we do not need this one that's coming outside the box, outside the bottle. So in order to delete that, I'll be clicking on Alt, and notice that when I click on Alt, the plus sign changes into minus, and I can just go ahead and select this and it gets deleted like that. So now we've got this, and I'll add this portion as well, this outer one. I'll select the pen tool again, and this time I'll change its fill to be a little darker shade of green and just add like this, make it a little curvy and just make this kind of a shape. I'll send it back as well by right click, arrange and send to back. I'll select all of them, come back here to this shape builder tool, click on Alt and delete the outer one as well. So now we've got this, right? So I can just go ahead and also change this a little and probably make it, just make it a little bit more curvy like that. Select the anchor points. This. Okay. Like that. So it looks pretty good. Now the thing that we have to do is add this line to give it a effect that it's standing on a table, right? So that's pretty easy as well. So I'll be using the line segment tool and go ahead. I do not require the fill. And as you can see that the smart guides automatically detects like this is the below portion of the bottle, right? So I'll be clicking on shift and making a straight line like that. There you go. Okay. Now we can go ahead and add colors and make it look a little bit more realistic. Right. So what I'm going to do is that I'll select the cork first and add a dark shade of brown like that. I'll zoom in on the cork. I'll select this, go to Object, Path and Offset Path, and over here in the Offset Path value, I'll give it a -10 pixels, and if we click on Preview, you can see a smaller portion is added like that. So I'll click on OK for now. And over here, I will be adding a different color of brown like that. And I'll be removing the stroke like this. So I'll select this and I'll send it back as well over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'll select this inner one right here, go to Effect, Stylize and click on the feather option. So what the feather option will do is that it's going to blur the edges off a little so that it looks like it's a part of the entire cork as well. And okay. And now you can see it gets a little blurred up. The edges get a lot smoother that way and it's looking a lot better, right? So similarly, I'll select this one right here and go ahead and also fill its shape to white. And I'll bring the opacity down to 50% like that. Okay. So now what else do we need to add? Yeah. So let's go ahead and add the these lines first, right? So to do that, I'll be selecting the line segment tool again, and I'll be going ahead and do not require the fill as of now. And I'll just making sure that my stroke color is the same and the stroke weight is the same. I'll just go ahead and click on Shift to add these kinds of a line like this. I'll select these two lines, come over here to the stroke option and I'll give it a round cap like this. So once that's done, we can also select these two lines again and bring its opacity down instead of to 70% this time. Now that's done, and let's see where all the lines are. So there's this one line over here and a similar one right here. We'll zoom back out. Come back here to this line segment tool, and I'll make one straight line like this and another straight smaller line like that. Okay, so once that's done, we can select these two lines, click on Alt to make a copy, and I can just bring it on top like that. Alright, so now I'll add these highlights on the bottle as well. So in order to do that first, I'll be selecting the rectangle tool again, and this time I'll be changing its fill to white, and I'll just make one rectangle like this. I'll make another one over here, and let's see, and there's another smaller one right there like that. So what I'm gonna do is that I'll be just rounding the edges off of all these rectangles we've made like that. So once that's done, I'll select this behind liquid that we had made, go to object, and I'll expand the shape that we've made so that it becomes into a vector image. Now I'll select these two, like the highlight we've made, this bigger one and this outer one as well. Come back here to this shape builder tool, and I'll deselect this upper one like that. Okay, so I'll select this anchor point and also just round the edge off like that. Okay, select this and just move it down a little bit like that. What I'm going to do is that I'll select the highlights we just made and also bring its opacity down to 50% as well, and there you go. So as you can see that our bottle is now getting shape, and I'll just select these, and we do not require the stroke like that. Okay, and now for the final bit, which is adding these type of circles all around. Well, actually one of the final bits, right? So I'll be using the ellipse tool, and I'll be just changing its fill to dark green as well. Now you can just go ahead and make random circles all around your bottle to give it a more realistic shape, or make it look a little bit more realistic. Like that. I'll add a few in the cork as well, so probably one here, that. Okay, so over here, in case if you want to add just the outline and no fill, you can just swap this as well. So you can make such type of circles as well. So like that. This. Probably just one more over here. So once that's done, now the only thing that's left to do is to add this shade. So to do that, I'll be using the pen tool, and I'll swap this as well so that I get a fill of the dark green and I do not get any stroke. But before that, I'll just select these three circles and I'll just bring them outside temporarily. Come back here to this pen tool, and I'll go ahead. Oops, wait. Just go ahead and make a sort of shade like this. I need this fill like that. So that's made. I'll send it behind like that. Oops, neck. Yeah, so I'll select all of this, come back here to this shape builder tool and go ahead, delete the portions we do not need, like that. Select this and also bring its opacity down to 20%, like that. So now I'll select the 3 circles we had made and bring them back to its original place, like that. And there you go. We've now successfully recreated our chemical bottle, something very similar to the one right here. So now once that's made, we can go ahead and also now save our file. So to do that, I'll be going to File, going to Save As. So by default, my file name is going to be the same as my document name, which was the chemical bottle. And the Save As type is going to be Adobe Illustrator. I highly recommend that we save a file in this format so that in case if I want to make any further changes, I can easily access my AI file and click on Save and click on OK. And there you go. Our file has now been successfully saved as an AI file. You will know, as you can see, this .ai comes right in front of our document name, which means it's now saved as an AI file. So that's it. We've now come to the end of our tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. You found it useful, and with the use of these tools, you can go ahead and also make different kinds of illustrations. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.